This award lets me know that good morning, bonjour, comment ça va? Et toi, ça va très bien. Ni hao, hola, bienvenue, wan ying, bienvenidos, bienvenita, namaste, and welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon. I am a Gemmological Storyteller. And each and every week, I get the magnificent opportunity to take the art, science, history, magic, gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry, and put it all together into a story. What I've discovered is that the whole history of mankind revolves around gemstones and precious jewelry. So what I do is take those gem stories and use them as a template, as an inception point, as a bridge to help people, to empower people, to remind people to take time to discover the value of their own stories, who they are, of how their life resonates. I'm really excited about today's show because, as I tell you, each and every week there's something that happens, either something that happens to me, or I hear something, or something happens in the world that confirms not only what I do here on this show and the years I've been studying gemology, but just the link between gemstones and people. And I had really a different show planned until something incredible happened. And let me set this up for you. The other day, we know that the solar eclipse happened. The solar eclipse. And what got me about the solar eclipse as a scientist wasn't just about the fact that it happened. I can sit here all day long and talk about just how did a solar eclipse come about. I could talk to you about the angles of the moon and the sun and the sizes and all the dimensions. But what got me about the whole event was how people responded to it. It was wonderful. For just a few hours, and more each day as we got closer and closer to Monday was the big event, and millions of people from all over from all over the world, probably billions of people, but at least here in the United States, millions of people across 30 states, just in one single time, just looked up at the sky with their glasses on, looked up at the sky and said, wow. And said, this is something miraculous, something unbelievable. People brought their children and their grandparents to see this celestial event. And what got me was it was Black people and white people and Asian people and Hispanic people and family members and strangers and colleagues all coming together to see this once in a lifetime event. We all know, we've listened to the newscast, we know that solar eclipse happen every time, they said every 18 months. Every 18 months, I think. And it happened somewhere in the world, but it happened to us here in the United States. From Mexico all the way up to Maine, there was a field of totality. I was so impressed when my 9-year-old Gianna just says, well, Wabi, we're not in the field of totality. And I was like, wow. She's in the 4th grade, and just the way she said it. And it just made me understand just the power of stories. Not only just the power of stories that so many people watching the news, finding out about this event that was now happening in their area, but just what it did to people. For just a few hours, we weren't talking about who got killed. or whether you were this party or this party, or you lived in this place, and we were all together watching this celestial event. And it just made me realize just one, how powerful a story is, how it reaches people, how it touches people. But really, what got me the most was that's exactly what gemstones do. Think about it. I told someone the other day, gemstones, when you really think about it, what other substance in the world brings people together like that? You can go anywhere in the world, and there's a culture, there's a people, there's a country, there's a continent that understands diamonds, rubies, emeralds, gold, sapphires, tourmaline, topaz, all of them. They appreciate it. They see it. They know what it means to them when they looked at, just like when the other day when we looked at this, those of us who had the glasses on, and when we looked at this beautiful sight of the moon crossing in front of the path of the sun. And because the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, and the moon just happens to be, 400 million miles from the earth, or 400 times smaller than the earth, it looked like the sun and the moon were the same size. And that's all science. What we were getting into, we as a people, we as a species, what we were getting into was science. And that's exactly what gemology. What we saw was a macro version, a huge, gigantic, celestial version of what happens with gemstones. That's what, as I was watching it and listening to the people talk about it, I thought about just the name of my company, the Gem Hunter, Gemmological Appraisals and Storytelling Services, art, science, history, and magic. And what you saw yesterday was the magic. That's the magic. The magic of what, not only just what you saw in the sky, the celestial bodies moving together, but the magic that's contained in each and every piece of gemstone in a different way. That's why those stories about gemstones have lasted for centuries, because it gives people that same feeling. It touches people. A colleague of mine asked me the other day, Barry, do you believe in the spiritual aspects of gemstones? And I always have to think about that, or at least remember when I didn't. When I was like, oh yeah, well, it's just, as a scientist, let me just tell you it's a stone and this and this and that. But it's so much more than that. And what I saw the other day was the perfect example. Just the perfect example of just how people can come together on something that happens in the universe. And everybody was telling the same story. Everybody was witnessing not only the same story, but their reaction to it was different. All of us was looking up to the sky, something larger than us. We got so much out of it. It changed us just for a few minutes. We valued just to be able to be in those places. People were paying thousands of dollars for rooms that were $100 the week before. People were traveling all over the world just to be in that zone of totality. That's the magic. And when I thought about it, this is called the diamond ring, hello, the diamond ring, because only a diamond does that to light. So what we were witnessing yesterday was how people interact with the light in a cosmic way, in a planetary way. So which got me to thinking what I do on this show. And that's why I just said, you know what? This show has to be a gemological guide to romance, to relationships, really more relationships. We'll get into romance next week, but just to basic relationships, because that's what happened yesterday. And you can learn so much from gemstones, not only just what the gemstone is, but gemstones can teach us so much about ourselves, about relationships, whether it be business relationships, but definitely personal relationships. And I know that seems strange, but so I wanted to make the analogy between the solar eclipse and gemstones just to get you to understand that what I say on this show at a micro level extends out to a universal level. It is possible for a story to affect billions of people at the same time. There are literally millions of children who saw that eclipse and they will remember that eclipse for the rest of their lives. There were babies born on eclipse day that they will remember for the rest of their life, April 8th, 2024. Imagine, and the reason why they will remember it, it's because it's a story. So what I do today, what I do every week is show you how those stories not only affect us, but how what the gemstone is a template to what we are, to the relationships we have with other people, to the relationship we have with ourselves. So so first of all, let me clear this up. I am not a relationship expert. I'm not. I've been married a couple times. I've been in a whole bunch of relationships. I am not a relationship expert, nor am I changing my field, my scope of practice to being relationship expert. But what I do is I'm a gemmological storyteller. I'm a gemmological storyteller. What I do is I have I don't know if it's a gift, a talent, but something inside of me that when I look at a situation, I look at it, I evaluate it in the same way that I look at a gemstone. It's the same process. It's the same process. So what I'm going to do is show you, this is actually going to be probably more than two, but at least a two-part show, because I want you to really understand what I talk about every week on a deeper level. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that God, that the universe brings me these messages. And I just sit there and go, wow. Wow. And I want to give a shout out to my producer, Barbara J. Beckley, who always patient with me when I create these shows. So thank you, Barbara, because it was just, when I saw it, when I realized it, I was like, oh my God. And that's what I get a chance to share with all of you each week. So here we go. What I do is, if those of you who are new, I put together the concept of what gemstones are, the characteristics, the traits of gemstones, and I make the relationship to people. So, and let's get back to the brass tacks. The reason why I can do that with no hesitation is because, believe it or not, no matter if you're whatever party you are in, political party, whatever religion you're in, whatever country you live on, whatever gender you have, we are all made up of the periodic table. Everybody in here watching this show right now, all your friends, all your friends, the people you don't like, the people you got to divorce, everybody is made up of these elements. So let's just get that together. So we're made up of those same 118 elements, and every gemstone that you've ever seen in your life is made up of those elements. So that's first and foremost. Then we have, so that's what this is, a gemmological guide to relationships. Let me show you how gemstones can help you in your journey, because a lot of people have problems with relationships. They're not in a relationship, they're unhappy with relationships, they can't find the person that they want to be with. So let me maybe give you a different way of looking at it. Gemmological guide to relationships. This is a diamond. As a gemmological storyteller, my job as a gemologist, my job is to look at something like this. Whether you know what it is, my job is to look at something like this. This happens to be a rough diamond, and understand what it takes to make that. That's my job. So when you look at relationships, think about it. You meet, and this is for men or women, this is for everybody, relationships. So when you look at a relationship, you have to understand ultimately this is who you need to be. You need to be a gemologist. You need to figure out, what are you looking at? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Gem identification. What is it? There's a whole lot of gemstones that look a lot like that. A whole bunch of gemstones that look just like that. So you have to first, in a relationship, figure out what it is. See, a lot of the things that I hear people all the time, because I'm in the jewelry business, I hear people buying gemstones, buying rings, buying engagement rings and anniversary rings, things like this. And then I hear a lot of those same people getting divorced, breaking up, things like this. And the thing that always gets me is, did you or did you not know who that person was when you married them? And if you didn't know, it's because you did something that we would never do in gemology. You would never just assume something is what it is just by looking at it. Think about it. That's what TikTok, Facebook, Twitter is asking. When you see all these people on social media posing and showing their bodies and things like this, what they're basically saying is, I want you to decide who I am based on the size of my body, based on the curves, based on the way it looks, based on my feet, my toes, the whole thing. That's what we are asking each other to do many times. And we choose somebody to be in our life based on what we are looking at. So somewhere along the line in our mind, we know what we look like in rough. We know for ourselves what we look like as a rough gemstone. We know personally, we know what we are, but what we try to portray to the world is this. That's what you see on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all those social media. You see various aspects of what that is, a diamond. This is a unbelievably gorgeous diamond. The colors, the scintillation, things like that. That's what we see. So let me talk about the first thing that we need to talk about in terms of a gemmological guide to relationships is rarity. Rarity. You have to understand, if you have decided that you want a diamond in your life, meaning that person, that man or that woman is a diamond, you have to first, if that person is a diamond for you, then you have to understand how rare a diamond is. Now, diamonds are not rare in the sense of how many diamonds. I told you before, diamonds are found all over the world. Diamonds are, let's go back, diamonds are made out of carbon. So first and foremost, if you understand how ubiquitous carbon is everywhere. The food you eat, your body, everything is made up of elements of carbon all that sugar you eat is carbon. That's what it really is. We are carbon-based life forms. Your cat, your dog, your horse, you, your child, carbon. So it's not like carbon is rare. It's not. It's not rare. This is carbon. This is a diamond that has not been cut. They found this just like this. Minus the dirt and everything else. This is what they found. This is carbon. But from this becomes this. And you have to, but what we're looking for is this. This is that man, this is that woman we're looking for, that diamond in our lives. And that's fine. But if that's what you're looking for, and if you're fortunate enough to have that in your life, you have to understand how rare it is. You have to understand that once upon a time, that person was this. That person was this. Rough. You have no idea what that person is going to become. We have a name for that. It's called children. It's called young people. As most of you know, I teach science and history all over the world. And I see what I see. The reason why I enjoy teaching so much, and my kids tell me all the time, we love you, Mr. Mixon. We love you, Professor Barry, is because simply I don't see them as children with necessarily challenges and all these other things. I see them as rough gemstones. And my job as a teacher is to create some of the facets, not all of them, that's what parents are for, but to create some of the facets, because I know by seeing, and I've seen enough children in my life to know that you can, a child that looks like this now can look like this later on. Please comment if you can't see the analogy. This is your child. This is you. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. This was you. And you became that. You became that. The gemstone you are today. And this fits, and if you don't like diamonds, this fits every gemstone. This fits, I can talk about this forever, because every gemstone starts out as a rough. And it becomes this. And if you want a family of diamonds, if you want a family you want a family where your man loves you, your woman loves you, your partner loves you, and you decide to have other diamonds like you and that person together, that you have to have the right ingredients. You have to understand, where did it come from? Where is it? Nobody ever goes to a jewelry store walking in, wanting a diamond, and comes out with something totally different, and believing, even though the jeweler says, well, that's really quartz. He's just an honest jeweler. That's yellow quartz. That's topaz. That's tourmaline. There's yellow versions of that. That's not morganite, heliodor. The yellow version of a beryl is yellow, is a yellow beryl, basically the same family emerald is, looks like that. It has aspects of that. And if the jeweler told you that that's a heliodor gemstone, you don't come out thinking that it's a yellow diamond. The characteristics are different. The hardness is different. It behaves differently in the light. And that's one of the first things that we make the mistake of when we're in relationships. We go in we want a certain gemstone, but we're not willing to understand that that person that you picked is not that. Doesn't make that person bad. They're just a different kind of gemstone than what you originally wanted or think you want. See, it's real easy. Gemology solves a lot of problems that we have in our own life because nobody, no gemologist on the planet would look at a yellow diamond and think, oh, well, that's a beryl. What? How could you think that? Well, and then what would that gemologist have to tell me? That gemologist would have to tell me what are the characteristics that makes her believe that that's a heliodor. There's a certain, I'm not going to bore you with the science, just like I'm not going to bore you with the science as far as the solar eclipse. That's not what you went out there for. You went out there to see the moon cross in front of the sun and block the light of the sun. That's why you went. You felt that relationship. The same thing we do with gemstone. You can look at it, but if you want to be with that gemstone, if you want to wear it, there's more power, there's more understanding when you know what it is. That's when people think of diamonds, this is what they think of. They think of a beautiful, colorless gemstone that does different things to the light. That's what they think of. They don't necessarily think of a yellow diamond. This is would be called a fancy canary yellow diamond. And the only difference, they're both diamonds. They're both diamonds. And the only difference between them is that colorless gemstone, that colorless diamond has nothing in it. And a yellow diamond has nitrogen. Nitrogen. 78% of what you're breathing in right here now is nitrogen. So let's go back to rarity. You find a person in your life that's made up of carbon or whatever characteristics you like. He likes to cook. She likes to whatever characteristic you're looking for. That's rare in and of itself. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and you know that those 8 billion people on the planet, and not all of them like you. Not all of them want to be with you. So that's rare in and of itself. That person is what you want, that person, what you would like to spend time with in your life. That's rare. That person, you like that person, and more importantly, that person likes who you are. And you have to understand part of what makes that person special. The reason why the things that person is because of what's inside. So if you want a yellow diamond, you have to understand that a yellow diamond, not the diamonds that you SI1, the yellowish, the M color, the R color, that has that yellow tinge, not those. We're talking about a diamond that has a molecular structure where the atoms are in single columns. Sometimes diamonds have too much, and it's just clumps of nitrogen. No, a diamond like that canary yellow diamond diamonds have nitrogen in a specific place, in a specific format, just like people. That person was born in a certain place. That person went to a certain school. That person has certain experiences. That person learned different things. Those qualities is inside of that person. So if you're in a relationship with someone that you already know don't have those qualities, why you think that diamond's going to turn into a sapphire for you? If that person showed evidence of being a sapphire, then that's what that person is. If that person is a carbon-based gemstone, if that gemstone has nothing but carbon in it, and if you put nitrogen in a certain format in that person, in that diamond, then you get a yellow diamond. If it doesn't have that, that's what you get. So when you talk about rarity, look at who that person is in your life. And ask yourself, what is rare? Because you've been in a whole bunch of relationships. Come on. You've been dating since whenever. Some of us some of us have been married before. Some of us have had numerous relationships before. Ask yourself the question, what was it about that person that you thought that person was in the beginning and who that person turned out to be? Because when you really think back and you're really honest with yourself, that person showed you who they were. They showed you who they were. And if it was a diamond, if I thought, Barry, this is a diamond. This is a diamond. And I go, oh, wow, this is great. Now, am I going to just accept somebody's word? Looks like a diamond. This is a 4,650 carat diamond. Wow. Yeah, it's real. Some of you might say, okay, thank you, and think it's worth millions and millions of dollars. Or someone who is a gemologist is going to be like, really? Let's do some tests. Let's evaluate it. Let's see. This is supposed to be the hardest natural substance in the world. Let's see, can it be scratched? Let's see, when you chip it, how does it chip? Let's see whether when you read words over it, because the diamond is singly refracted, you're going to be able to see the words straight through like we reading. If it's not, if it's a cubit zirconia, it's going to be doubly refracted. You'll know. How many of us have done that in our life where we thought we had something, and then later on, the marriage lasts 2 years, 5 years, 5 years, 10 years. You spend all this money on a wedding, and you didn't understand what kind of gemstone you had. And let's talk about the positive. If you understand what that gemstone is, how would you treat it? How would you treat that gemstone? If that is your man, if that gemstone, that diamond represents your woman, how would you treat something like that? You would treat it like the way it deserves, because you know it's rare. And we'll go to the other characteristic I want to cover today when we come back from the other side. Here's a fun gem bit. It turns out that a pearl's color is determined by the oyster's outer edge, or its lips. Something fun to think about the next time you're applying your lipstick. Discover the value of your story. All right, we're back. So we're talking about rarity. Rarity. If that person is that gemstone for you in your life, then if you follow the same way that you look at a gemstone, you would appreciate it because of its story, of that person's story. We appreciated that solar eclipse, not because it never happens or was the first time it ever happened. We appreciate it because it happened to us. It happened to us. It happened in 2017. I was with my niece and nephews on top of a roof. I saw it. We saw it with the glasses and everything else. But because it happened in 2024, we're like, oh my God, it's incredible. And it was fantastic. That's way we should treat our relationships, because we know that person is rare. That person loves you. Everybody's not loving you. Everybody's not like, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh my God, I love you. Oh, we know that. If you're lucky enough to have somebody in your life that's down for you, not down for you when you look like that, down for you 24/7. That's rare. That's rare. Diamonds come from, you got to understand where diamonds come from. Diamonds come from holes in the ground. Remember last week I was talking about diamonds come from the hood? That's where diamonds come from. We think about diamonds looking like this. Understand that this diamond came from here. understand that this diamond comes from holes. When they fill up the hole, this is called the big hole. This was the original hole in South Africa. The Kimberley mine. This is it. They call it the big hole. Look at it. That's where rarity comes from somewhere, sometimes. That man, that woman is in your life. You got to understand they may not come from you'll never find any gemstone just in a nice place, like a whole grove of rubies. You just picked one. Or, you walking down the street and you just happen to find an emerald. Look, honey, an emerald. Never going to happen. You got to understand that this is what you got to do to get a gemstone. Hello? Why you think you're going to just find the woman or the man of your dreams just like that? You don't think that about gemstones. We can sing about jewelry all day long. There's all kinds of songs and movies and plays and books about gemstone. There's nobody watching today that fully thinks that they're going to walk outside their house and just find a beautiful piece of jade. Nope. Nobody's going to walk out their house today and just find topaz, tourmaline, tanzanite, moonstone. Nobody. You got to work for it. You got to see it. You got to believe in it. That relationship. You got to understand the work. Then once you find a gemstone, if you're fortunate enough, and those of us who have been in numerous relationships or sitting there by yourself thinking, God, when am I going to find somebody love me? Hello. That's what we do with gemstones all the time. Those guys that went, and it's always usually guys and stuff, 14, 15, 16, 17th century, that just went to God-forsaken places looking for gemstones. They had to first believe that it was going to be there. Then they had to, once they got there, they had to go. Look at, does this man look like he's having fun? Like, hey, honey, I'm just going to dig up a diamond today. Okay, see you at dinner. Then once you find it, you got to shape it. You got to see what it is. And I'm not saying you shape the person that you're in a relationship with, but you got to begin to understand, not only is that person rare, but it's rare to have someone who took the time to be faceted, to be shaped in a certain way, to go to a certain school, to learn how to do different things. That read books, that took classes, all those things that allowed themselves to be created. That doctor, that bus driver, that truck driver, I can't drive an 18-wheel truck. I can drive a stick shift, but I can't drive no 18-wheel, 20-ton truck down a highway at 80, 90 miles an hour. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. But somebody did. Somebody took the time to do that. So if you have a person in your life that is a truck driver, and that person is doing their job and built a business and making money, but that's rare. That's rare. That person took that time. You can name any profession. Then once that person has been figured out what you are going to do with it, I told you diamonds are found these are the diamond producing countries in the world. So if you want a diamond and you live in the United States, you kind of out of luck. Wherever your diamond came from somewhere else. The United States is not a diamond producing country. I told you, these are all the places in the world that diamonds can be found. All these places have diamond material, diamondiferous material. All these places. Now, just extrapolate that to people. There's 8 billion people on the planet, so there's no rarity of people. There's just rarity in the person that you want to be. Diamonds from Australia are different. than diamonds from Canada. The quality is different. You get pink diamonds and red diamonds in Australia. You don't get that necessarily. You don't get that in Canada. You don't necessarily get that in Africa, in South Africa. And you don't necessarily get those quality, those type of diamonds that you get in Australia from Africa, South Africa. You don't. You have to understand that when you're a gemologist. You have to understand that when you're in a relationship. That woman, that man, rare. Then once you figure out, then you got the now you figure out where these diamonds are in the world. Then you got to find a mine. You got to finance a mine to get it. That person that you want in your life, you're not gonna just walk down the street. I mean, love at first sight and everything, but in real term, you got to work for that. You got to find it. You got to go to a place where that person, that quality of person that you want exists. Maybe you can find that person at the club, at the bowling alley, or whatever else. Maybe you can find that person at the library, at the local supermarket. Who knows? But when you understand how rare a gemstone is, then you begin to realize how rare your relationship is. It's the same thing. Jewelry, gemstones are just a microcosm of what we live in all the time. God, some of the times I think to myself, if I knew this so long ago, there's things that I would have done in my life that I have done in my life that I would not have done. And again, notice I'm not making the other person bad at all. The person I didn't recognize the kind of gemstone I wanted. And I didn't take the time to figure out what kind of gemstone she was. Rare. Rare. That person you sleeping with every day that you love, that person is rare. That person that you decided to have a child with, that person is rare. Now, is that person what you want? That's what you got to figure out. That's why it's a gemmological guide to romance. You got to figure that out. That person that you decided to get into business with, is that person really rare? Is that person really what you want? So you wouldn't have had that decision if you were doing a gemstone. You wouldn't have. You would have looked at what it was. If the jeweler told you, well, this ring costs $20,000, you'd be like, why? What is it? You wouldn't just go, oh, it's pretty. Okay. Oh, it's so handsome. Okay. You know, when you're in a relationship, nobody's gonna just walk up to you and just go, here you go. What's that? A diamond. For me, yes. Why? Because it's Tuesday, because it's Wednesday. Nobody's gonna do that. You're not going to get that. We are all old enough to realize that's not going to happen. It happens in movies, it happens on television shows, it happens in books. It doesn't happen in real. Every once in a while. Somebody found this gemstone, somebody found this diamond, good for them. Most of us don't get that. Let's say you decided to want something, a pink diamond. A pink diamond. This is the pink diamond. This is the pink gemstone. This is the pink diamond. But this is a morganite. This is a pink emerald, pink beryl. And you got to make the difference. You have to distinguish what kind of pink you want. Do you want this pink? If you went into a store and you wanted this pink diamond that has its own characteristics, that has its own traits, you're not going to walk out, especially if you're paying the money, you're not going to walk out the store with this. It's beautiful. This is morganite. This is morganite. Beautiful stone. But it doesn't do the same things that this stone does. It doesn't do the same things. It doesn't have the same characteristics. And so many of us go into relationships. This is what we wanted, but we settled for that. And then we get mad because we really wanted a diamond. Again, beautiful gemstone. But if this is what we really wanted, we can't complain about what we chose to be with. And if that's what you chose to be with, understand that you made that choice. And even if you found out eventually, let's say that person posed themselves as a pink diamond and you somehow got fooled, it's not the person is bad. You realize that it's not what you wanted. These are all the different colors of diamonds. These are all these are diamonds. All of them. Beautiful. You got to understand, this is the yellow diamond. If you want a yellow diamond, if a yellow diamond is what you want, then you got to find a diamond that has nitrogen in a specific way. That's how you find that. If that diamond does not have nitrogen in it, you do not have a yellow diamond. Let's say you wanted a blue diamond. Lovely. Blue, the Hope diamond is a blue diamond. If you want a blue diamond in your life, if that woman, that man is, you want a blue diamond in your life. You want a man that boom, boom, boom. You want a woman that boom, boom, boom. If that's what you want, then you got to find a diamond that has boron in it. Very rare to find carbon and boron in the same place. So, and if that's the situation with with a gemstone that just has two elements in it, what you think you're looking for when you're looking for a human being with thousands of elements, thousands of combinations, millions of combinations of elements. You know that same periodic table? That same 118 elements? That. You're looking for a diamond that has boron in it. This way you can get a blue diamond. You want a green diamond? Green diamonds. There is a such thing as a green diamond. This is the green diamond. If you want a green diamond, you know what you need to find? You need to find carbon that was next to something that was radioactive. This gemstone of green diamond has to have radiation, something radioactive around it. So if you want a person that is an athlete or loves to cook or loves to travel or loves to do whatever, fill in the blank, you got to have a person that has those characteristics. If that person, you know, baby, I love going camping and hunting and things of this. And then you finally get out to the woods with this person, not even the woods, let's just say a state park. And that person's like, oh my God, look at these bugs. Oh my, that's not an outdoors person. If that person is like, you know what, I can't live without my cell phone, that person is showing you maybe that's not what that person really is. You would see it if it was a gemstone. You would see it. You'd be like, okay. You wouldn't expect if you see a green diamond in your life, starting from today, understand that if it's a natural green diamond, that means it was radiated. If it's a synthetic green diamond, that means it was irradiated in the laboratory. Plain and simple. Other than that, you don't get a green diamond. If you want a red diamond, do you have to understand to get a red diamond is extremely rare because red diamonds have to go through just an unbelievable amount of heat and pressure to the point where it's called plastic deformation, where the pressure and the heat is far beyond what a regular diamond goes through. There's nothing in it. It is a regular diamond, but it has experienced so much heat and pressure that it changed, it bends, it deformed the basic structure of it, and now it's red. Doesn't mean that it's absolutely going to become red, but that's how you get a red diamond. So that person in your life, if that person has gone through unbelievable amounts of heat and pressure in their own lives, how did that person handle it? There's a lot of gemstones. If you had those conditions, it would never make it. It would never make it. And you have an example of that all the time. It's called the pencil. It's called the lead that's in the pencil. Is carbon that did not survive or cool down during the heat and pressure process, and it becomes graphite. That's what we can do in relationships. Real simple. Not real simple. It's a level of understanding. That's a rough diamond. That's a rough diamond once it's been cut, once it's been faceted, once it's been polished. You're not gonna just get that. You're not going to get anything that looks like that there. And if you do, there are certain characteristics that make that what it is. And if that gemstone does, that gem material doesn't have those characteristics, then it will never be that. It will never be that. I love motorcycles. I like motorcycles. Do I feel safe riding motorcycles in the United States? Nope, because the traffic is just too crazy for me. So if you wanted a man that's just really rough motorcycle rider and everything else, I'm not the one. Doesn't make me bad. I like motorcycles. I went to motorcycle school and everything else, but I'm not going to ride a motorcycle in the streets of Chicago because I see the way people act with cars. No, it's just not me. Do I see people riding motorcycles all the time? Yep, just not me. So if you're looking for somebody, I want a man that loves motorcycles and ride a motorcycle all the time. I'd be like, thank you. I gotta go. I'm not the one. But we do it with gemstones all the time. Now let's talk about just a few minutes, talk about durability. Because we all want relationships that last a long time, right? We want the one. Oh, that's what we want. If that's what you want in a gemstone, then there's gemstones you would never pick. An emerald is not a durable stone. It's not. It has a decent hardness, 7.5 out of 10. But because, like I told you last week, emeralds have just geologically, emeralds have things going on inside of it that just makes it brittle. That's why you have the emerald cut. They come out of the ground like that with something going on inside. The inclusions are there. That's how you know that you even have a natural emerald, because of the inclusion. That's why when you look at emeralds, this is what happens. Emeralds have to be protected because they chip. That's why you have the emerald cut. That's why when you look at jewels, you can get an aquamarine. This is the aquamarine, same family as an emerald. It just doesn't have the same things in it to make it green. It has iron in it, but because it has the iron, because it doesn't have the same inclusions that an emerald does. So if you want an emerald, if you said I want a gemstone that's durable, you wouldn't pick an emerald. They're nice, they're beautiful, but look at the protection. Look at the protection. That's why it's cut like that, because you have to protect it, because they're brittle. They can break. That's why this is designed. Look at the prongs. Look at the way it's set. So there's protection in this, the way this is, but you're not going to wear this every day. You're not going to wear this every day because it's not that type of gemstone. Look at the protection this necklace has. You could wear this, so the diamonds on the side would basically give it protection. It wouldn't take a blow. You'd have to work a little bit to get the blow just right on the side of the emerald, which would chip it. That's what you have to ask yourself the question. Is that person durable? Yeah, it's pretty. He's handsome, but is he durable? Is that gemstone beautiful necklace? Beautiful. Is it a durable necklace? That a necklace? Let's not even talk about getting hit over the head and robbed. Would that be a necklace that you would wear every day? No, no. You want something durable, you'd get jade. Jade is the hardness of it, but jade is tough. Jade is tough. Jade doesn't have the same molecular structure. So jade is extremely tough. That's what you want. You want green? There's green. There's green. You don't even cut jade. You have to carve jade because jade is so tough. Pearls. I love pearls. Pearls are my favorite gemstone. I have whole certificates just on pearls. Love pearls. Pearls is not a durable gemstone. You don't want to wear your pearls every day. Beautiful. These are Tahitian pearls. Oh, look at it. You wouldn't want to wear that ring every day. You know you wouldn't. You couldn't. Not if you wanted to keep the pearl because it's not durable. Many of us do that. We look at something like that. Yes, it's beautiful. It's elegant. I can see that on my hand. Man or woman, that's a beautiful piece of jewelry, but it's not durable. And I know that I'm the kind of guy that I find walls with my hand to hit. Something I cut my hand just bumping against something. I don't know. So that's not the gemstone or the relationship that I would be in. It's not durable. When you wear pearls, the rules with pearls is pearls should be the last thing you put on and the first thing you take off. You shouldn't wear pearls when you're spraying perfume because it's going to eat through it. You don't let pearls sit out in the open because they'll craze. They'll have cracks in it because pearls basically what? You talk about a stone that came from a living organism. What's in it doesn't allow it to protect itself from the elements and acids and fluids and things like this. It's not durable. They're beautiful. If pearls could do a TikTok, this would be what pearls would just be sitting there. And you go, wow, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. It's not durable. It's not what you want. And if that's what you're with, then you have to understand that's what you chose. So when I say the gemological guide to relationships, I'm not talking about bad or good. I'm talking about let's look at relationships. I think it would be more powerful to look at a relationship in the same way we look at gemstones because it's going to decrease the chances of you being hurt, making mistakes, making bad moves, getting married, all these things if you looked at it as a gemstone. And not only look at a gemstone, but accept the type of gemstone that person is. And person, if that gemstone is not what you want, then you let someone else. You let someone else admire that gemstone. You let someone else wear that gemstone, have that gemstone in their life. It's real simple. And that's literally that's the biggest mistake we make. When you went out there to watch the solar eclipse, you did not think that it was going to be pink or blue or yellow. You knew that it was going to be a black disc over the sun. The black disc was the moon. And you knew people spent millions of dollars, overall millions of dollars to see 2 minutes, 4 minutes of the moon crossing over the sun and going away. And people were like, oh my God. But yet we have that right in front of us, right next to us, in our house, in our homes, that rare person, that durable person. The moon will be here. The sun will be here long, 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 billions, millions of years long after we're gone. That's durable. That's what we do. We have to understand how the same forces that made us, the same magic that made us look at the celestial event, we have the same thing in our gemstones, and more importantly, we have the same thing in who we are as people. You have to understand that in your relationship. Gemmological guide to relationships is literally taking, and we're going to continue this conversation. It's literally, because I can show you with every gemstone, every one, that there are characteristics and traits that make that gemstone what it is. And whenever we've established that there is an effect that, whether it be celestial bodies that are huge or little gemstones that are here on Earth, they still follow the same rules and regulations of science. And if you understand that we are made up of the same elements that all the gemstones that I ever show on this show, nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon, silicon, oxygen, iron, all those gemstones, all those elements are made up who are the same things that we're made out of, then you begin to see how I can make the analogy. So, thank you for watching. As always, please subscribe. Please send me messages, notes. I get so many different comments, and those comments are so helpful to me because it makes me look at it. It makes me examine my basic theory of the connection between gemstones and people. So next week, we're going to talk about beauty. We're going to continue on. We're going to talk about beauty because that's this whole nother character. So I kind of talked about it today, but we're going to talk about what is beauty to you may not be beauty to someone else. And you have to understand, what does that beauty mean to you? And be honest. Be honest with yourself. Everybody doesn't like jade. There's a billion people in Asia that love jade, but you may not like jade because it's not whatever, sparkly or whatever for you. So that's not what you want. So we'll talk about beauty next time. I hope you enjoyed today. And as always, my name is Barry B. Mixon. I am a gemmological storyteller. And I truly hope that you're beginning to see how you can use gemstones to help you discover the value of your own story. So until next week, au revoir, atatella, voila.